Okay, this is a one-speaker meeting. Please welcome our speaker tonight is Brian.
Thank you. My name's Brian, and I am an alcoholic.
Hi, Brian.
I want to thank Robert for asking me at the last minute to come up here and share my experience, strength, and hope. Let me begin by telling you that I'm definitely an alcoholic, big time. My first drink, my first memory of a drink, I was at my cousin Diane's wedding, and I think I was 12 or 13 years old, and we were put at the kids' table, and we could order drinks, and we ordered Long Island iced teas because they looked like Coca-Colas. Okay, I remember picking up that first Long Island iced tea, okay, and taking a sip, and the next thing I remembered, I was passed out in my mother's car in the back seat. I blacked out after I took that first, I must have gulped the whole thing, and I blacked out right then and there, and I was sick for 3 days afterwards. 12 years old, cut to about 15 or so, I start drinking every weekend with my twin sister, Bridget. First of all, let me tell you that I have 5 brothers and sisters and 32 first cousins, and they're all Irish Catholics. Oh, yeah. So I'm preloaded genetically for alcoholism. So high school comes along, and inevitably, every weekend, someone's parents weren't home, and so we started drinking every Friday and Saturday night. By the time I started driving in 10th grade, I was like the designated driver for my sister Bridget. And so I would only drink so I could drive, relatively safely home. And I can remember, putting my head out the window, because everything was starting to spin, so I'd wake up. I was driving as a teenager completely, lit, bombed, drunk, and I got my sister home. But let me tell you, I loved the room spinning around, okay? I loved that feeling, being in bed and the whole room spinning and then having to put my foot down on the ground. I loved that altered state. So much so that I knew that I wanted another drink from coming home from those weekends, that in my parents, I still remember this really vividly. And there was this weird bottle of liqueur. It was like a Vandermint. It was a Dutch weird bottle of like chocolate liqueur, but you couldn't see through it. It was like this solid blue, and I would drink that bottle of liqueur just so they couldn't see that it was finished, to polish it off. And so I grew up with a father who got sober when I was growing up. And he's a doctor, physician. He's a urologist. He's a plumber. So get a load of this. My father would go out every Thursday night, and we thought he was going to medical meetings. And I remember seeing in our office a copy of the big books of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 and 12. Okay, and I remember taking down the big book and looking at it, but I never made the connection, and he never told us that he was going to, Alcoholics Anonymous, and I saw my father beat my mother, try to jump out the second-story window, and the cops coming over to, our house, and we grew up in a very comfortable, privileged East Coast deal, and so my father was going to meetings, and he was sober, and my parents stayed together, and I am about to set off to college. And here's one of the few things that my father ever told me when I was about to leave for school, for college. And he sat me down, and he said to me, Brian, if you think you have a problem 9 out of 10 times, you probably do. Okay? And then he said, my heart bleeds for you. And then, as an Irish Catholic kid, I saw like that Sacred Heart, that weird image of the Sacred Heart. And like I saw it like bleeding and ripping apart, and I thought, oh, okay, great, Dad, thanks, thanks a lot. And I go off to NYU, and that's where I started drinking every day. And that freshman year, that following freshman, that summer, I decided I wasn't going to go home. I was going to get an apartment because I took to New York like a fish takes to water. It was the most exciting place in the world. New York, Manhattan loves its youth. When you step into New York, my experience was that you are at the center of the universe, the axis mundi. You cannot be anywhere else, and the city just feeds on that. And I loved it. So I stayed there, and I decided to get a job at a restaurant. Okay, at that time I was studying to be an actor at NYU, and I get this job at this restaurant down in Soho. And I started out as a cappuccino guy, right? And there I could get unlimited supplies of alcohol and all my meals paid for. And that following, I kept on going to school. And then in that February, after that first gig, the cocaine one night after our shift came out, and I remember it was a brilliant, I remember the night. It was like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning on a crisp February night down in Soho, and it was snowing, ironically enough. And out came a big pile of cocaine. And at that time, I was just a beer drinker, and I loved beer, and I also loved cognac. I developed a taste for cognac and Newport cigarettes. I was a cognac, Newport sucking, 21, 22-year-old, sophisticate in New York, thinking that I knew everything, and everyone. And so the cocaine came out, and I will never forget this. I took this line, and it was what people talk about, that elevator ride up. Like, I'll never forget it. I really felt for that one split second that I literally knew everything that anyone needed to know. Okay? I became completely centered, laser, and like omnipotent. Just like, bring it on. I can think clearly. I can, articulate anything and everything. And the combo of alcohol and cocaine, it was the best combo that I ever experienced in my life. And so let me tell you, I always knew when I was drinking that I always wanted another one. Okay, regardless of how I didn't know how I was going to get home. Thank God in New York, I don't know how anyone really drinks in California because of the whole car thing. At least, I really don't. Here's the thing. At least in New York, you can get in a cab and you're taken care of, and you can stumble, roll, or into your apartment. But I can't even fathom, I still to this day go, do people really do coke and drink and stuff in LA? It's just a weird thing because of the car. But so let me tell you, so that combo of cocaine and alcohol, okay, I was a well-fed, upper middle class suburban kid from New Jersey, okay? I was weighing 155 when I went off to NYU. And let me tell you, within a year or 2 years, okay, I walked into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous weighing 118, okay, where I was doing a gram a day, okay, because I worked at this restaurant, okay, and I was drinking every day. And so here's the thing. I would literally pray to go, like I would do the promise, like I'm going to go 1 week without getting a beer after my shift, okay? And I'm going to try that 1 week, okay? Could never go a week, Okay, okay, I'm going to do 3 days. Okay, Brian, you're going to go 3 days and not, you don't have to have a beer after your shift and stuff like that. Go 3 days. I could never, ever do it, okay? So I am getting literally and physically sick and tired all the time, okay? I had chronic sore throats, okay? I always maintained my job. I had this overdeveloped sense of responsibility, and at that time, that's when I met Mr. Downey, Robert, and I got this, he and I got I got a small job on a movie, and so did Robert, and that's how we became friends, and we had a lot of fun, and we shared an apartment with his sister, his beautiful sister. I should ask how she's doing, by the way. Here's the point. The point is, here's the point. Okay, so by the time I walked into a room of Alcoholics Anonymous, okay, I was so sick and tired, okay, that not only was I chronically physically sick, okay, I literally could not go because of the cocaine and the alcohol. I could not even masticate. I would buy McDonald's hamburgers because they were soft and stuff. I couldn't even chew because of that whole like cocaine combo thing that I was going through, And working at this restaurant, the first AA meeting, and this is before I got sober, okay? I remember this bartender, and we were going to go, okay, we're going to go to this meeting and check it out, right? But we had a party to go to that night, okay? So get a load of this. I go to this fancy Upper West Side meeting, okay? And it's a packed room. It's like twice as big as this room, okay? And we're going to a party that night also. I walk into this room, this AA room, like an established sanctuary of AA, like a bedrock of New York AA, right? With a doubled up Bloomingdale's, those brown bags from Bloomingdale's, and I had 6 big bottles of Absolute vodka in the back, and I walked in the back, and they were clanging. And I was fucking oblivious, okay? It was like, oh, we're going, okay, check it out. And my father was sober, okay, fine, but we're going to go to this party, right? And I was the designated, I was carrying the Absolute, right? I was in a fucking AA meeting with a bag of Absolute, It was like, I publicly admit that now, okay? And so, it's like beyond, like, insanity, okay? So, after that meeting, like September rolls around, and I'm like feeling so sick and tired, okay? And I walked into Perry Street in September 20th, over 21 years ago, and I haven't had a drink or drug since then, okay? And, here's the thing, okay? I do not know why or how, okay, that decision walking in on September 21st, okay, 20th, 21st, okay, back in 1980, 84, okay, how or why I got sober. The only way that I know, okay, is through, the grace of God, okay? And it's taken me a long time, and I still don't have a complete concept of God's graces or grace. But for me, the surrender, and I thank God, I really do have a profound sense of gratitude for going through the experience of being sick and tired, okay? I also am an alcoholic, okay, with, as they talk about in the big book, the acute sensitivity, I'm hyper reactive to basically everything, and it has taken me a long time to finally feel like I'm in my body, you know? And it's entirely a result of Alcoholics Anonymous, okay? So I'm 20-something years old, 24, and I walk into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, and I am identifying myself as not only an alcoholic and drug addict, combo guy. I continue working at this restaurant, and I continue identifying as an actor. And the thing about that is, you know, as a result of being sober and doing a lot of work on myself, okay, I realized that you know, I'll tell you this really, okay, this is like an arc of how, like, the work that we get to do when we're sober. Like, I was able to figure out why there was a swim team growing up, okay? Okay, I'm going to publicly admit this, okay? I wanted to be on this swim team really badly because I loved, like, the whole team thing, right? I was the worst swimmer imaginable, okay? I would start a race during a swim meet, right? And I literally would be coming down the lane and I'd be taking a breath and people would be checking their watches. Like, when is this guy going to finish? Okay? Everyone had been finished long before and I'd be still coming down. Okay? I would be validated by being the loser. Okay? I was part of the team, but I was like the fucking loser, right? The big time loser on the thing. Well, ironically enough, as a result of, like, being sober in Alcoholics Anonymous and therapy and stuff like that, I perpetuated that whole thing as an actor in New York, okay? I was on the A team and stuff like that, and auditions, even callbacks and getting really close, but I never hit a home run. I was on the team, I never hit a home run, but I was still validated. I felt very part of, okay? And I perpetuated that same thing. And as a result of being sober, I kind of was able to figure that out. And, you know, I have no regrets whatsoever about the path, because I remember walking into Perry Street in that first year of sobriety and doing the whole parlor game of, like, oh my God, if I stay sober, I'm going to be fucking 20 years from now, you know, that you do the numbers thing, I'm going to be fucking 40-something years old. Like, and I couldn't even imagine what my life would be like, okay? And I remember actively doing that game, like, holy God, if I stay sober this long, you know, I couldn't even imagine. Well, let me tell you something. It is literally beyond my wildest imagination. Okay, it's exactly what the big book talks about. Okay, if we just come in and surrender, okay, and show up on a daily basis, and sometimes it's an hour basis, a minute, okay, if we just show up and surrender. And I remember when I was newly sober, okay, two things have kept me sober. The preamble. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking, okay? That's how I've stayed in, kept coming back, okay? If it wasn't for that saying, I would not be in Alcoholics Anonymous, okay? I still, on a daily basis, have a desire to not drink and pick up. Now, it's like not pick up a negative emotion, not react, okay? And for me, beyond my wildest dreams, because as a result of being sober and working the steps, working with others, taking direction from a sponsor, okay, and different sponsors throughout my sobriety, right, and different fourth steps and stuff, I have, and I don't study any, like, martial arts. I do some yoga once in a while and stuff, but I feel like I have this, like, dexterity, okay, emotionally, that I never thought I would ever have in my entire life, okay? Because I was an anxious, you know, nervous, reactive, frightened, fearful alcoholic. Like, what do they think? I was just driven by fear all the time. And now it's like, regardless of what happens on a daily basis, and I have an incredible life today. Okay, I have in my sobriety, as a result of being sober, I have, some of it is a function of maturing, okay? Because I got sober in my 20s. I went my entire 30s completely sober, okay? And now I can't fucking believe I'm 46. I just had my birthday. Like, here's the thing. Let me tell you something. I look in the mirror, okay? And I go, oh my God, you're like fucking 46 years old. And it's like mind-boggling, okay? It's mind-boggling. And I really want to believe that we're aging differently, okay? Because it's like, that's like one of the, like, I have no relationship to my age. And I stayed back a year, It's like, I always like, so it's like a weird thing. But I still, like, because I think of like an 18-year-old, It's like, it's just weird. So, that's like the one hard thing about being sober. No, accepting my age. But here's the thing. As a result of working the steps, okay, and coming to AA on a very consistent basis, okay, throughout all that time, because I know when I get squirrely, okay, I'm either agitated, or incredibly irritable. And I go, okay, and then I start, getting like compulsive, and I start micromanaging my wife, my kid, and stuff like that. And I know that I run to a meeting. And the thing is, so I have, during my sobriety, have witnessed, okay, I was able to see my mother die in sobriety, okay, and I always thought like, oh shit, if my mother was to die, I could drink that, okay. I got married to a sober member of Alcoholics Anonymous, who is a really gifted psychotherapist, okay? And so let me tell you, not only am I married to an alcoholic, okay, I'm married to a brilliant therapist who never lets me not be honest, okay? That I have, and the great thing about a sober marriage is that it forces you to grow up, okay? A marriage is one of those great things and difficult things and painful things sometimes, but it really forces you to grow up. So, I have, been very successful in a different career, and went through the whole gestalt of being successful in that, and decided that I didn't want to be away from my family working 18 hours a day, even though I got to go around the world and stuff like that and feel good and stuff like that. So I made the decision to stay home. So for the past 3.5 or 2.5 years, I've been, the stay-at-home dad with a 12-year-old daughter, while my wife supports our piggish lifestyle here in LA. And it is beyond my wildest dreams. And the thing about it is, not that I don't, let me tell you something. Like, I literally am like one of those women, like, I see myself, okay, I see myself like that mad housewife, like, ripping off the apron, like, if I have to fucking grill another piece of chicken, I'm just screaming, like, I can't grill, eat, prepare another dinner, and it's like, but here's the thing. I look at myself as a domestic engineer, I am. I'm the transportation operator, I'm the facilities manager, I'm the extracurricular, activities person, I'm the concierge, I'm the maid, I'm the housekeeper, I do it all. I really do. And I love baking with my 12-year-old daughter. We're mean-ass bakers. Really good bakers. as you can tell. So I am like incredibly grateful because of Alcoholics Anonymous, and it is beyond my wildest dreams. And the thing about it is that during my sobriety, and it doesn't matter how long I have, because it is fundamentally, literally, one day at a time. Okay, I can be, okay, if I don't turn my life over to the care of God in the morning or at any given point of the day, I can be as insane. Okay, as insane as the craziest active drunk out there, even in sobriety. It is that the cunningness and the power of a disease that is paradoxically internally telling you that you do not have a disease, okay, that you're okay, okay, and then you can do this, okay, and then you get this flash, okay, I really can, okay, and then you just go into the rabbit hole, the black hole of all the insanity, of all the lies and justifying it and stuff like that. It is a really insidious, powerful thing. And I've been around long enough to see how it has taken people down, and I have seen, miracles happen, as a result of being sober, too. And for that, here, I see my mom die. I get married to a sober alcoholic, okay? We have a kid, this amazing girl who, I just left her. I just had this is a young alcoholic in training, and she is an incredibly gifted, bright. I love my daughter, okay, and I never thought that I would love anything or anyone as much as I love this kid of mine. And that's been one of the greatest gifts, okay? Not only getting sober and marrying a sober alcoholic and working on a sober marriage, the gift of being a father and a conscious parent, okay? My kid has never seen me pick up a drug or a drink in her entire life, And as a result of that, I hope that we're going to, I think that I hope that we can be a very profound influence in her life. I have the same anxiety as any parent, that, I want the best for my kid. I don't want her fucking hanging around the kid that just got suspended for cheating, even though she's gravitated to that kid. And I can't let it go, like, why are you hanging out with this kid? He's a fucking weirdo and creep, And I had to really, detach and say, this is her deal. And, my wife and I, marriage and being sober, it can be trying and demanding. And the thing is, it's like, I'm running to a meeting today because, like my wife and I, 24 hours ago, we were doing really great. And then, I ignited something in her, and then I become, the old tapes are like, I'm a bad boy, like, what did I do, and how can I meet your needs and stuff like that. And so I get like all completely torqued out. I immediately go back to that place that I'm like no good, I'm a fuck up, I'm, all that negative stuff. So I come to a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I try to be as honest as possible. That's the only thing that I can do. And let me tell you, I have worked the steps really rigorously. Okay, I've been on that whole like meditation thing where everything serendipitously falls into place, that there are no coincidences, and I find that the longer I stay sober, that everyone I meet, okay, I meet for a reason, okay? It's not like I wake up every day and say, oh, like, look at everything as a sign or anything. Oh, the water's right here. You know, it's not like, you know, I don't do that. But the more that I get outside of myself, I realize that I'm here for a reason, you know, and it's so incredible to be validated, like, oh, that's why I'm sober, you know. Every couple of weeks or so, I get this hit, like, oh, that's why, like, I'm sober. And God, like what a powerful deal that is, you know. For me, you know, it keeps me coming back, really, and for that, I'm incredibly grateful. I love seeing Mr. Downey here. Do you know? We have, you know, 25 years can go by, and it's as if we knew each other. You saw each other, you know, on 84th Street, Edgar Allan Poe Street. You know, so and that's the interesting thing. You know, you meet people, and the connections that you meet with people. You know, the thing is, you meet a fellow sober alcoholic, and the thing about, you know, the outside world is a lot of people are afraid. You know, the human condition, we come out afraid. You know, we want to self-soothe. We start sucking our thumbs, or, you know, we want to soothe. You know, life, you come out, it's hard being a human being, do you know? But at least in Alcoholics Anonymous, we learn to look in people's eyes and say, how are you? You know, greeting someone, taking a commitment and holding on to it, you know. We reach out to the fellow alcoholics. People in the real world, like outside here, don't know how to do that. They don't do that, okay? There's very few people. We have the fortitude of being honest and saying, how can I help you? Do you know? St. Francis' prayer, it's in self-forgetting that one finds. Do you know? The more I get outside of myself, and I'm a narcissistic, self-obsessed alcoholic, okay? I can get totally into Brian and like, and stuff like that. But the more I get outside, and, you know, how can I be of service to my family, my daughter, my wife, and then to the fellows that I meet outside. You know, that's how I start my day. And then I know that I'm going to have a remarkable day, you know. And I remember early on in my sobriety, there was this great sober guy, Pat Farley, big Urson Pat Farley in Perry Street. He said to me, the most important thing you can do as a sober alcoholic is not pick up a drink one day at a time, okay? And for me, okay, the obsession to pick up that drink has gone. Okay, for me, I translated that I don't have to pick up a negative thought today. You know, and I try to constantly turn my will over to that I'm not going to embrace, massage, nurture negativity or reactivity in my dealings with people and my fellows. And Alcoholics Anonymous has given me that dexterity of like a Tai Chi person, even though I don't know anything about that. And for that, I'm really grateful. I'm so thankful to see you, Robert, and what a blast. Thank you very much.
I think I'll stay small. Okay. I would like to thank Louis for Chapter 5 and Todd for the 12 traditions. And let's give Brian another big hand, please. Okay. Are there any secretary's announcements?
My name is Robert. I'm your alcoholic secretary. Hello. Why don't we thank Yvonne for leading a great meeting. Newcomers, out-of-towners, chips and cakes, dear sir.
Michael Alcohol.
Mike.
Newcomers tonight were Aaron, Jamie, Ryan, Joshua, Herbert, Doug, Jay, Yvonne, Chris, and Ike. Welcome home. Out-of-towners from Cleveland, Ohio, Jill. And from Nantucket, Massachusetts, Tricia. 30 days, Billy, Jay, and Jill.
Hey, 30.
For 60 days, Sean and Todd. 90 days, Steve, and Denise. Okay, birthdays. Our first was Christy for 3 years. Next one was Mike for 11 years. And Tom for 19 years. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. To those who have commitments at the meeting, stand up, check in, let us know what's going on, and we will clap afterwards.
William, alcoholic. I do the birthday cake.
Hey, William.
John, alcoholic, seat monitor.
John.
Leslie, alcoholic, seat saver.
Leslie.
I'm Randy, alcoholic. I'll be signing your court cards up here. Sign up this side here. I'll be up.
Ready.
Jim, an alcoholic.
Hi, Jay.
Jay.
Their H&I representative. We help bring literature panels into detoxes, rehabs, jails, and you can give just like that perfect demonstration. We'll be over there, and if you want more information as to how to get involved, come see me after. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
Sherry, alcoholic, breeder. Hey, Sherry.
Jody, alcoholic, treasury.
Hi, Jody.
Hi, Jody.
Collected $119.16. Our expenses were $77.29, $41.87 for reserve. Thank you.
Melissa, alcoholic, breeder.
I'm Melissa.
My name's Mike, I'm alcoholic.
Hi, Mike.
Mike.
I do literature. If you need me literature, at the back of the meeting hall. I got big books, meeting directories, and a bunch of free pamphlets back there. Thanks for letting me do service. Dana, alcoholic, I'll bring the water.
Thanks, Dana.
Stevie, alcoholic. I'm standing in for Paris. I'm a cleanup. Can I see the hands of some volunteers to help out? Cleaning up. This over. Anybody? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we'll be in the back and we'll take care of that.
David, I do the chips.
David.
I'm AK, also known as AK.
Hi, AK.
I'm an alcoholic. I'm coffee with my partner O'Brien, who's here, and it's my pleasure.
I'm an alcoholic named Dave. I record the meeting.
Dave.
And the CD of tonight's talk, you see me afterwards, and I also have the history of the meeting's talks, and I have a lot of
Thank you, one and all. And thank you for letting me be of service. Yvonne? Just those last 3 lines.
Okay. This has been a regular Wednesday night meeting. Thank you for coming and keep coming back. Now, after a moment of silent meditation for the alcoholic who still suffers, would you lead us in the Lord's Prayer, please? Would you lead us in the Lord's Prayer? Your name is? Cameron. Cameron, will you lead us in the Lord's Prayer? Okay, thank you. Come on, sweetie.
Our Father.
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Keep coming back!